All right, it's Friday, and yes, this is unusual. It is a brand new episode of Let There Be Talk, and I've never really done this before, but my guest today is one of my best friends and oldest friends, Mr. Jakob Dylan, and he has a brand new album out today with the Wallflowers, and I thought, listen, this record is fantastic, and if I can get extra ears on it today, I've got to do it. So instead of waiting till Monday, I wanted to put it out today. The record is out right now. Do yourself a favor, buy it, download it, stream it, whatever you got to do. Tell all your friends because I love this man and he has been a great, great friend to me over the years. And not only that, his music I absolutely love. All the records that he's made, I've always found it just unbelievable how great of a songwriter this guy is. And I think you guys are going to love this episode. He also did Joe Rogan this week, so check out Jakob on the Rogan show. And those of you that did see or hear the Rogan Jakob Dylan episode, they talk about a time that Jake and I hung out with Prince, and I didn't talk about it here because Jakob was on 10 years ago and we covered that. So just a heads up, you can go back and hear a very old episode, which Jake was on episode number 2 of Let There Be Talk. And coming up July 12th, I believe, right around there is the 10-year anniversary of Let There Be Talk. So great conversation with this man all about the new record and a lot of other cool things. I'm off to Cleveland right now, and I will be there tonight at the Winchester for one night only. There's a few tickets left. Please come out. I am only coming out for one show. So join me there or join me next Friday in Fort Worth, Texas with Jay Buchanan from the Rival Sons. Or at the end of the month, I'm doing 5 shows at the Punchline in Sacramento. Thank you, Jakob, for always being there. I love you, brother. And I love your record. Here he is right now. The candles are lit. Mr. Jakob Dylan. Oh, look who's here, man. It's been, can you believe it? I'm not even kidding you. July 12th, it's been 10 years since you were on the show.
That was not 10 years ago.
Is it 10 years?
I was one of the early ones, was I not?
You were one of the earliest. You were the second one.
Wow. Well, I came because you're a friend of mine, and then, look at you now. Now I'm, having all my PR people have to call you. Can you get me in with Dean Del Rey?
No, fuck you. I was begging you to do it on Echo in the Canyon.
Yeah, I think when I was here, there was no record or anything. I just came in, I think, to say hi, right?
Yeah. Well, we got a 30-year friendship, so it was like... The stories
I was here anyway.
Yeah, the stories are unreal, just funny as shit. But I'll tell you what, it reminds me of when I first heard 6th Avenue Heartache because I knew you and I didn't know when the record was coming out. And then, bam, this video comes on. I come home late night from doing a gig in San Francisco and I'm watching MTV or VH1 or something and 6th Avenue comes on. I go, damn, this guy fucking's got a smoking song.
And that was your first seizure with that video, huh?
Yeah.
The video, that video is all stills. It's all still photographs.
I know, David Lynch, right?
Some people can't watch it.
I love it. I think it's so great. But my
great.
point is, now I hear this song, Roots and Wings, and I called you right away, and I was like, wow, man, look, I got goosebumps, dude. I think the song is incredible, and you're this far into your career, and you could be easily at the point to where you're like, fuck it. Why write a record? They're just going to, it's free. And then what for? And so, yeah. I mean, how do you get up each day and go, let's write a record?
Well, some of the things you said are true. There's some people who won't make records anymore for that reason that they, there's just, where do they go? What do you do with them? And, this record's out at the end of next week. And what does that mean? Do people race in the morning? They go to YouTube and just listen? Maybe. I mean, I do that sometimes too. The business, obviously, the model doesn't recognize itself. But why do I do it? I still really like writing songs. And I still, when you get that idea for a song, whatever it is, a lightning bolt, a germ, whatever, that feeling you get, that impulse, I live for that. And that only is fulfilled by writing a song.
The lyrics on this And that's been a thing with you since I've known you. Your lyrics are just smoking. Does it take you a long time to write lyrics? Because it took me a long time. And now that I write jokes, I'm like, God, I'm constantly in this thing. Can't I just play rhythm guitar?
Yeah. Well, what about him? The writing the words?
It takes a long time?
Yeah, it's elusive. You have to go to work, but you also, if it doesn't fall on your head, that's what you're really waiting for. There's those things that just drop on you. And when you get that, then you have to go to work, and then it takes a lot of precision and experience to know how to put a song together. But, with this group and whatever I do, that is the heavy lifting. There's nobody you like that didn't start with a good song. But I take that challenge on well, and I invite it, and I wanted it, and I like it.
Yeah. Well, you're fucking great at it, and I know how hard it is.
Well, it is hard, but it is hard. But that's just because the way I prefer to do it. My instincts are that. But nonsensical songs about nothing are great too. They don't have to be monumental ideas or themes or anything like that. It's just I write the way I do because that's the way it occurs to me. It's not modeled after anybody particular, but I also don't value a lot of my favorite artists because they do or don't spend as much time on writing words as I might or someone else I like might. I mean. There is room for everybody. You can like everybody. You can like the Zombies as much as you like Paul Simon, as much as you like the Ramones, for all different reasons. It doesn't really have to do with one thing.
Yeah, that is true. Do you ever do this? And it's funny, like I do it with jokes now, but I would do it when I'd come up with an idea of a song title. You ever jot down song titles just in your phone and then try to write to the song title?
You want to see my notes?
Yeah.
I'm going to show it to Dean right now, just because he's wondering. This is just all my current sheet of just lines or words that I'll get around to using at some point.
Yeah.
There's a couple more of these entries too. Yeah, and then I keep track of them just like you do with jokes, and then you got to buckle down and find use for them.
Right.
But that's the stuff that just occurs to you when you're not actually writing a joke or writing a song. Ideas still come, and those are the good ones.
Yeah, and you got to take them down.
Yeah, because you're talking about the inspiration for a song or a joke.
Right.
That's the hardest stuff to get. You can't manifest that very easily. But then once you have that, then you go to work.
Yeah, because when you go to sit down and write, it never happens.
It's the hardest, and sometimes you have to. Sometimes you just have to go to work whether or not you're inspired, and you get mixed results. I've never written a song in 15 minutes. I don't know that anybody. People who tell you that they wrote these gigantic songs that are your favorites. Oh, that took me 15 minutes. I call BS on that.
Yeah.
I just don't see how that's done.
I don't believe that either. I believe that maybe the initial blueprints of it came out maybe 15 minutes, but then they tossed it around for a couple years. And then even when they got in the studio, they tooled it up like, oh, we got a third verse now.
Yeah. I would take no pride in saying I wrote something in 10 minutes.
Not at all.
No.
Even if I did.
I'd rather say it took me 4 years, to be honest.
It sounds like a grind. You're like, this guy's working.
Well, a lot of times when someone says they wrote it, I wrote that in 15 minutes, I usually want to say, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah. That's the thing with comedy is when a joke seems to come out instantly, it burns out real quick, which is weird. You're like, it's one of those ones that lasted like 2 shows.
Yeah, you guys are interesting, though. Like, remember, I came to see you very early on when you were doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And I knew you were funny. When you told me you're doing stand-up, I thought, well, of course you are.
Yeah.
And I forget which of the places I came to see you play. And honestly, I don't know if I told you this. This is, how many years now?
Comedy Store, so 10 years ago.
Yeah, I saw you do your thing, and I was sitting in the audience, and it's weird to see your friend up there be a stand-up comic all of a sudden, because I thought you were funny, but it wasn't really getting over. And I was kind of surprised. And then you invited me back like 2 years later, and a lot of the jokes were kind of the same. You'd massaged them and they'd adjusted, and it was hysterical, and the room was on the floor because it's a trade like anything else. That it's not just a written joke that's good. You learned a lot in those 2 years, and I was shocked. Like a lot of the same jokes go over like big just a couple years later.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like music. I mean, let's think back to like late 80s when you're starting the Wallflowers. And, you're down at the Kibitz room and you're just playing. You're just kids just going wild and just whatever. But as you learn the world and tour the world and everything, it becomes a completely different thing. And then now what the pitfalls are. You also know, this is going to be the heavy work and this will be easy. And you start to just figure out how to do it, Well,
yeah, that's it. There's... inspiration is really important. That piece of it is really important, but going to work is, you have to, and your experience, over time, you just get, the experience is worth a lot. Your focus just gets better over time when you're doing things over and over again.
What do we got on this? I don't have the notes. Butch Walker produced?
Yep, Butch Walker is, he's the producer of this record.
How'd that come about?
Well, I've known Butch a long time. You guys are friends.
Yeah?
Now,
Oh, yeah.
we've known each other a long time. We've crossed paths when we used to tour, back in the touring days, when you could do that kind of thing. Maybe 20 years ago. And we became friends, and we've played countless times together, be it friends' places or fundraisers or whatever. But we never got in the studio together, really. So I think we both kind of always wanted to. And Butch he's first and foremost, I think of him as a singer-songwriter and a performer. And to me, he also produces. But I see him as a peer of mine, as an artist. He's a good producer for me because he's a player and he's a writer. And I work best with someone like that. I don't have the best results working with music fans who sit on the couch and just hang out and tell you what they like. Resentment just kind of builds up at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I like to work with people who walk in the shoes I do, and have the same job, and that's Butch.
It's amazing because you both have a deep, deep love of Springsteen and Americana music and stuff. And, especially coming from where Butch came from, he's a lot like me, where he was in that 80s rock thing of Sunset Strip and everything. He's like me to where you can't even find that in him anymore. Those are kind of your gateway into music. And then like I said it over and over and over, once I started seeing the Wallflowers and then I start learning about the band, I'm finding shit backwards through your band.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you learn. But you're right, Butch, however he appeared when he came to LA in the late 80s, he doesn't resemble that much anymore, but most people don't.
No.
That was kind of like a phase of music, but, he just had huge ambitions, and he came to LA, and he became, because of that phase, he became one of the better performers you're going to see around. Because a lot of those days you're talking about was performance-based.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he stripped that back, and there were good things about that. You were entertaining, and so he does what he does now. But he has has the ability, I wouldn't say chops, but he knows how to entertain really well with the music he does now. And that's a different generation than now. Today, there's a great distance between the audience and an act.
Yeah.
Purposely kind of like a wall between a lot. Unless some bands, like not all bands, but you see a lot of that. But he's one of the better performers you might catch if he gets to go on tour anytime soon.
Well, I do think that's an era where you learned how to put on a show. It was about, maybe you didn't have that good of songs, but you knew how to put on a show, and everybody was looking at the blueprint of Van Halen. That's just the bottom line. Like, wow, this is a goddamn arena show, And Bruce at the same time, who I wasn't seeing, and then later on learned, like, oh my God, Bruce was one of the ultimate showmen of the 70s. It's just insane.
Well, you can get very far without good songs if you're a good entertainer. But ultimately, if you can have both, like some people you might mention, some people don't entertain you at all. They don't. That's not their thing. Everybody's got a different thing and what they get over on and what they want to be doing. But yeah, it's a rarefied space of people who are fantastic performers. It's important. I'm sorry. It is part of it is showbiz. It just it's relevant to the topic, and the best have great songs and know how to perform.
So you get into the studio with Butch. Do you guys sit down and say, hey, produce the record, or do you just go in and do a couple songs first and see what it sounds like? Because this has a classic Bring It Down the Horse, T-Bone kind of sound, It sounds great.
Well, no, actually, I kind of learned, I didn't know this. Butch took a leap of faith with me. It didn't occur to me that this isn't how it normally happens for people, but I didn't play many songs when we agreed to find some time and go in. we put some musicians together and we picked a start time, and Butch kind of nodded his head, and I think he was a little maybe uncomfortable asking me, like, hey, can I hear some shit first before we go in there and book that time and spend that money? And it didn't occur to me that you should do that, or maybe you want to do that. But he just trusted me, and I don't want to work with anybody who wants for me to audition. It's just I'm too far down the road. It's like, what I do, I assume it'll be the best version of that, and let's go make a record. I'm not going to show up to your studio if I don't have songs, I promise.
Yeah.
So,
you're not that guy ever,
Well, a lot of people do that, and they can get results doing that. But I don't want to go to the studio until I'm ready and excited. because it's actually an awful feeling to go to the studio and just feel like your song's half-assed or you don't even have one.
Oh.
And some people will get together and say, that's not a problem. We'll just make one today. And it usually sounds like it. It's got cool beats and it sounds great, but there's no song in there. And it's just the way I prefer to do it. But yeah, we talked about some musicians, and his studio is great.
You were out there at Santa Monica one?
Yep.
I love that place.
Yeah, it's great, comfortable for me. I'm on that side of town too. And there's all different kinds of ways to make record, but I would say you can have a great time making a record and work really hard. When you're younger, they tell you that things have to be it's got to be almost like a horrible, maddening experience to make music, and that's just garbage. I mean, you can get results that way too, but you can have a good time making a record, and we did.
I learned that early on, man. You work with a certain producer, and they're just monsters, and you think everybody's like that. You keep working with a person, then you go work with somebody else, and you go, oh, wow, this is totally different,
Yeah, there's people you can mention.
Yeah.
Producers who do that. We've heard those stories.
Yep.
I just can't imagine that it's... I mean, you hear about those, and we hear about the Def Leppard records, and how much work that was.
4 years.
And it's like, okay, but what about the records he made that didn't get over like that, and you tortured a band? Some didn't get over. I mean, people. It's not like the film business that you only have to get over a small amount. Your percentage rate doesn't have to be very high to keep working. You know what I mean? So, but I say all that with also saying that I don't know. There's so many different kinds of producers. You can only start to identify over time which ones you work best with. And if there's a producer in the room that is not going to allow you to feel fearless, you're in the wrong room. It doesn't matter who it is.
So when you go in, was it a couple weeks? Did you track it in a month? How long?
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Singing and everything.
I think the bulk of it was 2 weeks, and then I would go back and sing things here and there, and that's plenty of time. If you have your shit together, it's something I prefer to, I don't want to be there too long, because actually the longer you're there, the less focus you have. It just starts to come, looking at the same puzzle over. It's maddening.
Start second guessing yourself.
Yeah, so your instincts are good. Follow them, believe them. It's just a record. You know what I mean? Like, if you have good people in the room, you're just choosing between good choices.
Yeah.
These are all good choices. So just pick one and keep going. And it was only a couple of weeks, and then I did go back and do some singing, but that wasn't like the intent wasn't to be live or not. It's just that band sounded good, and we overdubbed like anybody else would, and it's live in the way that we all track together and we're there together. We didn't have to do it over files and the internet, which I'm grateful for.
Thank God.
Yeah, and you could do that too, but it's music is just better when you're all in the room together.
Who's the drummer?
Mark Stepro.
Who's that guy from? Because, man, he's got a great feel, man. It feels like Chamberlain from the one headlight type of just laid back killer feel.
Yeah, well, he's been around. He plays lots of people. Plays with Butch a lot, and I think you're talking about the feel of a drummer. Of course, feel of a drummer is a heartbeat. It's not just the chart in what you're looking at and where the beat goes. When they say drummers are different, that's why 10 can play the same thing, and they all feel different because it's about your heartbeat. And I could say you could relate Mark to Matt Chamberlain.
Is he in the band?
I can't really answer that at this point. We made the record. I haven't been able to tour yet, and my priority was just to make the best record I could with as few people as possible. And as usual, it's a rotating group of people, and my band's always rotated members. It's never been different. There's never been there's never been a lineup of this band that made 2 records.
Right.
So I think that's confusing to a lot of people, because when they first saw us on TV, they saw certain people, and half those people didn't play in that record either, Bringing Down the Horse.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just been a continuation. Really, it's always done that.
Who is the singer on a lot of the songs, the female voice on Darling Hold On?
That's Shelby Lynne.
Oh, Shelby. Whoa,
Yeah.
She's saying that.
Yeah.
Wow, she living in L.A.? Or did you send it to her?
No, she came to the studio. Val McCallum, who's playing guitar, plays with her sometimes. And we had the song Darling Hold On, and we wanted someone to sing with me on that.
So great.
And I think her name came up with Val one day, and it just dawned on me, well, that's who should sing. And I asked Val if he'd reach out to her. I hadn't known Shelby. We certainly ran in very similar circles forever.
Yeah.
But we never met. And she was kind enough to come down and sing that song in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
So I said, well, we're going to just close that door, and we're going to start throwing more songs at you.
Yeah.
And she became like a member of the group, really, which is great. I'd rather have that than I was happy to have her as a special guest singer on one song. But she becomes, her and Butch and I singing together. That's the blend of the whole record, really.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she's
her solo record, that one, I can't remember what it was. The big killer one is unreal, and God, her story is insane too.
Well, her voice is unlike anybody else. She has a contralto voice, which is like the lowest female voice.
Wow.
You know, but it's so unique, and it's not that common. Because you can call your favorite singer to come and sing with you, and you might not blend well, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
So you keep your fingers crossed that somebody you ask to come sing, that it's not going to be a bust, that like they don't swallow you up, which happens sometimes. You don't sound good together sometimes. So we did, though, I think.
She sounds fantastic, and that song is amazing. It's funny because I listened to this record. I've listened to it about 10 times, but you know, these songs, like I listen to the lyrics and I even text you like, who are these about? Because I'm like, that's how good the lyrics are to me. They really are making me think like, man, I wonder who he's talking about.
You're hoping it's not you.
No, yeah. yeah.
When you ask
Roots
who
and
is
Wings,
that?
I go, hey, that Roots and Wings. There's a line on Roots and Wings that I think is one of the greatest lyrics I've heard in probably 30 years. That one, set myself on fire to keep you warm. It is unreal, and that's my wine you're getting high on. These, like, dude, this record, man, it really, it made me so happy because I always loved what you did, and we became great friends. And you know, you are somebody like I always thought as like the Black Crowes, and I've said this before, where people are like, oh yeah, I love Wallflowers. What happened to them? And it's like, well, you fell off. He didn't stop working. You just fell off, you know? And when somebody makes a record this good, this deep in their career, man, I want to shout the shit out of it out, man. When I'm doing radio for shows, I'm like, they're like, hey, what do you listen to? Oh, I'm listening to the Wallflowers new record. You know, I got to get it out there.
Well, thank you. You know, everybody changes though. And, you know, there was no band that was ever going to sustain what we had when we first came out. I mean, those days are long gone for everybody. But I wasn't really cut out for that line of it anyway. Yeah. There's a lot of things about those days that made me very uncomfortable. So
I know.
Yeah, there was a lot of it that I didn't really associate myself with, and that's not looking down on success in any way. I'm not talking about success. I'm just talking about the situations you find yourself in. That sometimes you don't know how you got there. But I never saw that as my destiny to sustain that kind of success and that level. But those days are gone for everybody anyhow, you know. And I'm not certainly competing with streaming and 18-year-old pop stars. So it's a different thing. It's not for everybody.
Do you enjoy like playing live? I mean, once in a while, but do you enjoy, like right now, would you like to go out on a 3-month tour?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly that's maybe not the best time to ask that question.
Right.
Because no one's toured in so long.
Yeah.
But I miss it. I mean, I'm most of my whole life has been on the road.
Right.
As young and as an adult. So it's part of me, and that's it's not for everybody. Some people just, they didn't like it when they were younger, and by the time they wake up in their 40s, they're like, what was that all about? I don't like to travel.
Yeah.
And they just stop. And I'm not one of those, though. I'm somebody who really likes to travel and see the people and the shows and the different cities. And more than anything, I hope they don't ever take that away from me, because it's part of my bloodline. Yeah,
man. I mean, when I was off for that year, like a little over a year, I'm working now. Holy shit, man. It just took me apart, you know? I was like, wow. I fucking love that.
Well, not only do you just love it, but it's part of the rotation of what you do. So it's like I write records and I record them, and then you talk about them, then you go out and you play, and then like that cycle just kind of keeps repeating itself with any kind of project you're doing. So, without that balance, and it becomes one-sided, it's a lopsided effort that you can't, these are all just, you're going to work, you're going to write your jokes, but you take away the other half of it, which is the release and the results of that hard work. It's frustrating.
I tell you, I was looking at, this is your, 7th album? It's the 7th one?
Maybe it's the 7th Wallflowers. A couple records I made of my own.
A couple solos, yeah. The Women in Country. And which was the one that Bruce called like one of your solo albums, man? He gave some mad glory on it.
Oh, yeah, you kept that a secret from me, Bruce.
Oh, man.
Which Bruce?
Oh, no, Springsteen, man. He was like, they're like, hey, what have you been listening to? And he was like, I think it was like Women in Country.
Yeah, you know what? He and Patty both said nice things to me about that record. I don't know what you're talking about specifically.
Yeah.
But I do know he's told me nice things personally about that record. He liked it, he said.
God, that's so fucking crazy.
It is, isn't it?
That guy.
Well, what's cool about it, though, is that that's not a pop record. It's not, commercially viable record, but it's refreshing to know that somebody like Bruce Springsteen isn't worried about that. They're still finding records just like any other listener they're not getting them from the radio necessarily. They're finding them, they're hunting just like everybody else for music that moves them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just like you and me. And at some point you think that those people don't do that anymore. And maybe some of them don't, but I do believe that he's still just a really hell of a music listener and fan.
What is the process now? Because you're probably somebody I know the closest in the business. I mean, I have a lot of people, of course, on the biz that are in the biz on the show. But so your record comes out, and it's just basically it's out, and there it is, right? Because you are getting some great play on Sirius XM, man. Which is, I'm telling you, they're playing the single on I think the Loft like crazy.
Yeah.
Which is goddamn great, you know. But what is the process now? You just put it out, right?
Well, yeah, unless you know something I don't know.
I mean, are there video? Are you doing videos?
Yeah, not really. I mean, that part I'm kind of look. It's kind of gotten to the point where the models that you might have used 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're not there anymore. So that's good news and bad news. You can do whatever you want, but that's the good news and the bad news. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. So everybody's just kind of waiting to get lucky to some degree, you know. But what's the model? Like, no, you're making videos? Like, no, I don't want to make those kind of videos anymore. I didn't enjoy doing it back when we did it, but you can make any video you want now.
Yeah.
So that's cool too.
Yep.
So, we didn't make a video for this. We decided to focus on like TV performances and stuff because it seems like that's what most people do anyhow. They go to YouTube and, unless you have a really artistic driven point you want to make with a video, I think you'd rather see the band playing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to see an animated video. I don't want to see a video that has actors and actresses basically jumping around to somebody else's song. So, I mean, there's a place for that, I suppose, but I'd rather just perform.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever talked about this, but I do know. And didn't you track a record with Dave Matthews years ago? And is that ever going to happen?
No. That was just, we gotten together with other friends and we just did some recording and writing together. It was never intended to be a band or a record.
Right.
But somewhere that was suggested, and then it seems like a hidden Eddie and the Cruisers type project that someone threw over a bridge. I'd love to tell you that's true.
Yeah.
We were just having fun, and we wrote some songs together, and we had a great time, and that was Charlie Sexton, too, and Will Sexton.
Wow.
That was never meant to be anything other than us, and somebody who was around somehow put that look on it that it was a super group. And who calls themselves a super group?
So dumb. Super group. I mean, I think the only one ever that could do that would be the Traveling Wilburys.
That's the only one
That's the only one.
I can't think of a whole lot of other ones. I mean, Led Zeppelin's not even a super group, even though they were all around. There's not a lot. I mean, that were really great bands anyway. But no, it was fun. It was down in Shreveport, Louisiana. But no, I'm not hiding that from you, Dean.
Oh no! I just remember that, and I was like, wait, man.
I do like the Eddie and the Cruisers throwing the tapes over the bridge story, though. I'm gonna go with that.
We found them,
Mm-hmm.
the lost fucking soul record, some kind of crazy record. Yeah, I was wondering what happened. And that's just kind of things that
nothing happened with it.
Nothing. Wow. Let's get a little bit into Echoes in the Canyon because I was there when you shot the 2 nights, and that was so fun, and it was so long ago, and it took a long time to come out. What was the problem with that? Were you guys shopping it around, trying to get somebody to buy it? Because this thing was fantastic.
Well, you're talking about the live performance from the film, right?
Well, I'm talking about the actual film also.
Well, what you saw, that was pretty early on.
Early on.
That was we still had to go make the movie simultaneously.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, and then when you make a documentary like that, there is no script. So you're just, each interview, you have an idea of what you're doing, but then depending on the, for your listeners here who aren't exactly sure what that was, it's not really about Laurel Canyon. It's about the certain bands in Laurel Canyon in 1965 and how they interacted and kind of the birth of the sophistication of rock bands and lyrics and all that. But, we had to spend a lot of time interviewing those people. I mean, you can't line up Ringo Starr, Brian Wilson, Eric Clapton in a week and knock it out.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And a lot of flights. So, and the story changes. Eric Clapton may say something really special. Now suddenly you realize, well, now we got to go talk to so-and-so, because we want to hear more about that. So it just kind of unravels, and it does. They do take a long time. But when you saw the live performance, that was done pretty early on in the filming.
That was fantastic, man. Fiona Apple, Beck.
Yeah.
These guys were crushing it. And And what a vibe. And then the way that you guys did the kind of the 4 or 5 weeks of premiering it at the ArcLight in the Cinerama Dome and then playing after the film.
Yeah.
This was genius, man. And I mean, Ringo came down and played, and that I was in there and I was like, this is so great, man.
Well, that was something we were able to do with the film. And most films, documentaries are not. Like, there's no band to go play anywhere. So, you can go to your Q&As, which we did. You're right at the Cinerama Dome. But then we thought, why don't we just set up some small gear here in a PA and take the band that you saw playing in the film and do a little mini set. We did that all around the country.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we went all over and did that.
Oh, shit. That's great. I didn't even know that.
But that was a unique opportunity. You don't usually have that. I mean, it was good for us to do that, but also you don't have the opportunity with many films that you can do that anyway. There's no band that you could really bring together to come to Q&A. So, yeah, that was fun.
And the single was killer.
Go Where You Want to Go?
Oh, man.
Well, that's Jade Cristino's there. She was sang with Edward Sharp for a long time, but Jade is fantastic.
She killed it. And the way there's another great combo of your voice and her voice together, just smoking, Yeah.
Well, she's got character for days.
Yeah.
She's really special.
Yeah, absolutely. And the film did great. Like, got great reviews and sad to say that was, I think, Tom Petty's last interview.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish that wasn't true. Obviously.
I know.
But he was pretty late in the, we talked to all those people who were there in '65 around that time from, Stephen Stills and Eric Clapton and Brian Wilson. But, what we didn't have was really somebody who was a super fan of that music, who was a kid really, who was witnessing that music live and buying those records. And that happened to be Tom Petty, which we hadn't really realized until we had the opportunity to talk to Tom that wasn't. Yeah, it's cool to have Tom Petty come and talk because he's Tom Petty, but it became even more special when you realize, look, we're actually getting a witness. He wasn't in those bands. He was too young. He was a teenager, and that's why he's still playing that 12-string, those Rickenbackers, and that's why he's a kid, a student of that music. So his perspective was awesome, and at the time I hadn't noticed that it was missing. We're just happy that he'd come and talk.
Man, I still can't believe that he's gone. I was at the last show ever, and sometimes I sit around and I think about those times, like, that great show you guys did with them at that college over there for the radio station. I forget.
That's right.
That was incredible. And other times that you had played with Petty and, I just, like, you and I, we love Petty. Like, I mean, Wallflowers is a
Well, he looms over this new record greatly.
Yeah.
Not just, I borrowed this beat or that beat like anybody could, but his presence was very large to me in this record. He was not just as a musical reference point and somebody inspiring, but as a person, he was very, very kind to me, and was a lighthouse to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
When you're out there adrift. So I allowed it. The other times you don't allow your influences to show themselves on records, but this time I just allowed it because it was more homage to him at times, and to the point of there's a line that I had that was. Long after midnight, I'm still on my knees, and I said, no. We're gonna go with long after dark. Still on my knees.
Yeah,
because then why not?
Yeah,
because I hope that he's still listening to music. Yeah. I know he is, and he's gonna hear that line, and he's gonna smile a little bit, because he's one of those guys. I always loved his. As far as like, are you taking that from Tom or not? Like, well, everybody just relax. They're pop songs.
Yeah,
he said that best. When he said the world has enough problems and people fighting over pop songs.
Yeah,
so it's a tip of the hat to that reference point too of like So he's his presence. I felt it quite a bit making this record.
Oh man, it's unreal to think about that guy's songwriting and how many songs he wrote, how good he was, and how soon he was gone.
Yeah, well, he fooled everybody. Us guys like me that. One after another, you think like that's not that sophisticated. That song, I could probably do that. Yeah. Whether it's, you name it. Whether it's "You're So Bad" or "Running Down a Dream," you think like, well, I can pick up the guitar and I can play this. Why couldn't I write that? Well, it's like, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Where he tricked you is you think it was easy.
It's a lot like AC/DC.
It's even harder than being sophisticated. You'd have a much easier time writing something that was reminiscent of a day in the life because it's so complex, and you could write something simple and straight that gets right to the point. Way harder.
Oh,
and
man.
he But that's also, we need that. We need that because it's a reminder of like, dude, you're chasing your tail. Just like, look what he did. Like, and how moved were you when you that music? Like, it is sophisticated, highly sophisticated. Much harder to be uncomplicated than it is to be complicated.
What a career, man, that guy had, you know? I mean, it's just unreal to think about it. And I love everything about him, like his love of guitars, his love of amps, his love of the history.
You know what you loved about him was that he never lost being just a teenage rock and roll fan.
That's
and
it.
That's like Bruce Springsteen too. Like, it's natural for that bit to, you know, leave you at some point. Certainly when it becomes your job, at some point you think that the shine's going to wear off the apple, and now you know how everything's made, and you're going to lose the magic. But when we brought him into that guitar store, it was just True Tone.
Yeah, I love it.
We shut it down for him. I mean, the way he looked around the shop, you know, it was just the way you or I would, or even somebody younger, like wide-eyed and like, what's that amp? He wanted tons of questions because how often could he go into a shop and just walk around and be left alone?
Yeah.
But his enthusiasm was kind of, you know, funny to me. Like, he's just like, he looks like he's like me. He's like another 15-year-old kid. Like, he just loves the knobs on the amps and wants to know how they work. He's got a question about this one and that one, and let me see that guitar. And, you know, that's what you're talking about. It's just the love of it never left, you know?
Yeah.
And it's normal for it to leave to some degree. But to keep it all like that is awesome.
I'm glad it's never left me or you. I mean, you know, we do like late night texts like, dude, you see this jacket? You know, and it's just in us, man.
Well, I'll tell you something else. You know, before, when that record was finished, Echo in the Canyon, I'd gone to play it for him, you know, and I just played it to him in his studio. And you've done this before. Like, I can't tell you how many times, because probably maybe never, has someone actually just listened to something you're playing to them and just shut up and actually listen to the entire thing without, like, while it's playing, in the middle of it going, you know, like, hey, who's playing bass on this?
Yeah.
Who's the drummer? Like, he didn't talk at all.
Yeah. What studio?
He didn't say a word. And after each song, he'd make a few comments. And I forget which one it was. Maybe it was Never My Love. He listened to the whole thing and just had his eyes closed, listened to it. And then he just looked at me and said, man, I thought I never wanted to hear that song again. But that was great. But when he looked down on the sheet, he probably saw Never My Love. He's probably like, oh, man, do I have to sit through another version of that song? And then, but he did. And then he just said it. And then he said, but that was great, though.
Oh, man.
So very cool.
Where was the mid-century house that was featured in when you and Beck and everybody's listening to records?
Oh, that's a house up in the hills there that we were allowed to use. I will say it's not my house, though. It wasn't Beck's house.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Because I'm so into architecture. So
Yeah.
I'm watching this and I'm like, look at this house. And then there was I just recently watched this documentary that Justin Kreitzman is putting out called Let There Be Drums. And he is fucking... They're in this studio that looks like a mid-century house, and I'm like, "What is this studio?"
Is that finished? He keeps me updated on that.
Yeah,
I stay in touch with him. I didn't realize he was finished. I want to see, where did he send you something?
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Well, we'll ask Justin. If
I
will.
I know he'll let you watch it. You know what I mean? It's really good.
Well,
though.
I'm glad he finished that. I know that he was pretty passionate about that for a long time.
It's funny to talk about drummers. I just had Matt Chamberlain on recently, and that was really when I learned about him. But Wallflowers have had a lot of different drummers, Jack Irons and Fred, and all these different feels and everything. What is that like for you? Because I know it's weird for me when I played music, because you'll be like, oh, these songs sound great with this type of guy, and people bring their own thing to it. Who do you prefer if you looked at all of those?
Well, of the people I played with, it's hard to say. Matt Chamberlain is one of a kind, of course. And Jack Iron is too, but they're not similar in any ways.
Yeah.
My voice sounds really good with Matt Chamberlain playing drums and a good slinky bass line.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things about playing with Matt that has separated it from being strictly, maybe we call roots rock or something, because he's not really that way. So,
he's not the classic rim shot guy that's just doing that rim shot.
Yeah, he's just got, I can't tell you what it is, but he's obviously a special player, and I've had nothing but great success playing with Matt throughout the years.
Yeah.
But, and it's interesting. I mean, not every, even if someone's going to play his parts with me, sometimes it just doesn't sound or feel very good. It's nobody's fault. It's just that you got a different rhythm inside you. So, but, that's really, really important to me. How important to me? Like, very important. The drummer and the rhythm section support me, because the other stuff we can deal with. We're going to figure out what guitar sounds good where. We're going to figure out whether it's a dobro or lap steel. We're going to figure all that. B3, is it piano, is it Wurlitzer? I'm not worried about any of that.
Yeah.
I've worked really hard on writing this song. Like, it's got to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, who cares?
Right.
You know, so that's hard sometimes. It's not always easy, but it's not the same for everybody. You know, this isn't a four on the floor, you know, pumping, driving. You know, there's swing to my music.
Yeah.
You know, so someone's got to have that. I mean, I've just learned that over time. Like, why did that not work? That just didn't. He's great. I mean, I've done sessions with great drummers that you'd be shocked, and you're like, at the end of the day, like, it just didn't work. It's not. I don't sound good.
I've been there, and you just don't know why, you know. And you're like, maybe the song's just not good, and you start questioning the song, and then somebody else comes in and plays it. And I always use the reference of Ronnie Crawford, this drummer I played with. He came in, and it was like a complete whole different game in my life. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God, I could write anything and this guy's going to make it great.
Well, there's truth to that too. I mean, one of the records I made with T-Bone Burnett, Jay Bellarose, you know Jay?
Yeah.
You know, he played with me, and he's funny. He doesn't use hi-hats. At least not when I was working with him. So when you come from a rock band, you got the headphones on, something just, you can't figure out why I'm missing some information. And I remember going over to him and asking him, like, hey man, I don't think I can hear your hi-hat. And then he pointed on the left side. He said, I don't have one. You know? So, but as far as like that band, like, you know, there were some great people when I was making that record, Women in Country with T-Bone. I had the same thought, which is, man, maybe I worked too hard on these songs. Maybe I overthought it, because I think like a 9-year-old could come in here and like knock this thing out, because these guys sound so good. Musicians, like, you know, it really elevates a songwriter, and vice versa. You cannot make a great record with those musicians in a shitty song.
Yeah.
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
But when you're lucky, you get both. It'll
expose the shitty song.
Yeah, everything will sound right. Everything sounds great. You just can't figure out, like, I don't know, I just don't want to listen to this again. What happened?
You and I both love The Clash, which, oh, by the way, I remember you and I were going to see Big Audio Dynamite. This is a great story. And you're like, hey, you want to go see Big Audio Dynamite? I go, yeah, I'm at the store. So I'll just walk up and meet you at the Roxy. So we go backstage and we're talking and hanging, and then they're getting ready to go on. And you looked at me and said, I don't know, you know, we'll probably stay for a few songs and then cut out. They blew our minds so fucking hard. We didn't go anywhere. Yeah. And the third song, and we looked at each other and we were like, this is incredible.
Yeah, you know, when you say that, like, I thought maybe we'd see a few songs and go. That was thinking that I was going to think it was great.
Right, yeah.
There's not many people I want to see for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
I'm sorry, like, I'm really into music and all that, but I don't, you know, tight spaces, crowds, all that. Like, your favorite band, sometimes you're good after 5 songs.
Yeah.
But that was, I mean, my impression. I did not see them back in the day, Big Audio Dynamite, but I could not imagine they were ever any better than that. And it was the most recent show. The only other show I saw recently that I would say the same thing about, that I just couldn't leave, I didn't want to end, was Nick Lowe, when he was playing a solo acoustic out in New York. It was just like a rebirth of, like, I'm wrong. Like, you know, there are some people who can come out and you don't know why. That feeling inside you is still it can be really special. And that Big Audio Dynamite show is one of the better shows at the Roxy, right?
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to be like as great as it was. It was really special.
We left blown away. We were just like, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
But my question is, have you, and I think I've asked you this before, have you ever thought about getting together with some guys and doing a full-blown kind of rock record? I mean, you know, Red Letter Days, that was a rock record. But have you ever thought about like you and Butch and a couple other guys doing a rock record?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I still hear records as being in this, you know, the way we used to buy them. I'm not holding out for the old days by any stretch.
Yeah.
People say, like, you know, what do you prefer, vinyl, CD, or MP3? It's like, at the end of the day, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I just want to hear the song.
Same here.
You know, but yes, vinyl does sound the best, but sorry, I can't get my turntable in my car, so I can't always have that. But but I still think of records that way. And there were pivotal points on records that we don't have anymore. When you're top loading CDs or streaming, or however we do it now, you just have a top and then you have the end. You know, there's no arc to these things. And the records that you loved when you were growing up, it's like there were these spots. You had the first song on the record. I wanted to know how you can open this record. And then you had song 2, and then you had what closed out the first side. Then you had what's on the first side of side 2.
Yeah.
I think anyway, you get that. Now, how do you close your record? These were points, and then in between those points, you could have songs that you knew weren't very good.
Yeah,
they were there to get you to the next song.
Yeah,
you know, they were there to like air the room out.
Yeah. Filler tracks.
Yeah, you might. Well, but they weren't. It wasn't because you didn't have a better song. Sometimes you might put in a waltz because it's going to like jigger your brain for the next song. I mean, these were advantages that you could have when putting a record together. So would I do a full blown rock record? Like, I could do anything. It just really depends on the songs that come to me and what's believable. And I don't write my songs usually with an electric guitar, and that's where those songs usually come from.
Right. Right.
You know, it's a different thing. I don't write riffs. I write songs, and then I just try to find the best way to represent that song that is as moving as possible, that gets it over. And sometimes that's a quicker song than a slower song.
What were the guitars on this? I know you and I love guitars, and you go through different ones over the years of playing in the Wallflowers. A heavy telly guy for a while, and then you were a 335 guy, and then a Gretsch guy. But what is it right now?
Me right now, I've been playing a lot of Gibsons, a lot of 335s, 355s.
Yeah.
I still have all my tellies. I did have a moment not too long ago where during a sound check, maybe 10 years ago, where I was like, what is that? There's like awful, annoying sound every night on my stage. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. And it's a Telecaster. I was like, oh my God, I'm playing a country guitar.
Yeah.
You know, they're for licks, really. They're really complicated rhythm instruments. So, I mean, they're still my favorite guitar without question.
Of course.
But I moved over to Gibson's live. It's just a little more compatible with the records I make. You know, and but I'm not a snob for that stuff anymore. I'm not lost in that racket anymore of the vintage stuff. It's
out
just
of it.
Like, well, I mean, if I really need something, I don't enjoy getting those guitars and then putting them away. You take them out of the playing field, you know, and that's why there's so few of them now. And I don't want to contribute to that. I also have a lot. I really don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I don't sell my stuff. I don't flip. So
I know.
I just keep it, and I got the same stuff. I got a lot of guitars. I mean, if something pops up, yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah. You still got the divided by 13 amps?
I do, yeah.
God, I love those.
Yeah.
I sold mine, to move here, but I love those amps. And you and I, you got one, and then I was like, I got to get one. And I went out there to fucking wherever he was, San Pedro or whatever.
Yeah, Frederick, he actually tweaked that amp for me. I asked him, can you make this guitar sound like a Gibson?
Yeah.
You know, and that's like Red Letter Days, I think. So it's a long time ago. So he modified it, and I got took a little bit of the high end out of it from those tellies.
Yeah. I love it, man. Did you see the Bruce Broadway show?
I did not, but I got another chance, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
I
know he just started up again. Yeah, I'm going to get out of town here and go see that.
Yeah, you got to see it. You've been watching some comedy? You watch comedy at home?
Yeah, like throw me so. I mean, I always ask you who to check out.
Yeah.
No, I can't. There's somebody I'm gonna. What about that guy Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn?
Do you know him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's his thing?
You seen him, right?
No, I just seen him online. Like, I think he's really funny.
Oh yeah.
Have you done shows with him? You know him around?
Oh, I've known him since I started. Absolutely.
I came across some of his things.
Yeah, funny guy.
Yeah.
I really like Nate Bargatze.
I don't know who that is.
He lives in Nashville. Fucking fun. I think you'd like him because he really reminds me a lot of you from me knowing you all the years because you're dry and funny, and that's how he is.
Okay, well, you'll have to send me that name. I'll check it out.
I'll send that over.
No, I always ask you for that stuff. You told me years ago. I asked you. You said, should you check out this guy, Bill Burr?
Yeah. We just did a show last night.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize at the time was like, hey, I'm trying to get into some music. Anybody cool I should check out? I'd be like, yeah, try AC/DC.
Yeah.
Somebody everybody already knows all about and is already killing it. You know?
Well, I get it. You got adults. You got kids that are adults now.
Well, it's your world.
Yeah.
That's your world. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
How would I learn about these things too much unless I come see you, do your bit?
You're living in LA still.
For the time being, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we living in LA? Do we know?
We've talked about this.
You and your comedian friends figured out, and then, well, I know why you do. You got all the clubs here.
Yeah.
I know more and more. It's,
Yeah.
Everything's changed.
Where would you go?
Well, that's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically from here. I don't have any real problems here, but at some point, I might as well just try something else. Nothing, is permanent. Might as well just. Who said we had to stay in one place forever?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you lived in New York for a while when you were young.
Yeah, I did.
I lived in New York for 3 years. I loved it.
Yeah.
And you can always come back.
Yeah.
It's
changed your life. I mean, everywhere's changed. You just take your problems wherever you go. So you got to get your shit together yourself before you consider going somewhere else.
Yeah, because then you'll blame the city for not filling the hole in your heart.
Really, I just dragged all my shit across country, and I still feel the same way. What'd you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't your town. That's not it.
No.
It's not the town. I mean, the town was relevant to your traffic and to your income taxes and things like that, but like, your property taxes, but otherwise you might alleviate some of those issues. But you're going wherever you go, you're taking all your baggage with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Time won't fix that.
It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't talk about leather jackets. You and I.
Again, I'm usually asking you what's up.
Yeah.
You always got the line on good stuff.
I just got a new one. I'm going.
You're going to show me before I go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think I'm going car coat this year. Once it gets cold
you're going
again.
Donnie Brasco.
I'm going more drugstore cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going not mob, more junkie.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good look. That look shouldn't be expensive, by the way. It should be an easy, affordable look.
Oh yeah,
junkie look.
Unfortunately, yes. I got one from YK Leathers at the Y2K Leathers or YK. I forget, from Japan.
Okay.
But it's rock hard. Yeah. I can't fucking move in it. I've been wearing it at night over on the couch.
Yeah. Netflix coat.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Well, all right. When's the record come out?
July 9th, I believe.
July 9th. Yeah. All right. So yeah.
Maybe should I be sure of that?
Yeah,
Does it matter?
I think so.
Everybody knows when to go to YouTube.
Well, I really want people to hear this, but yeah, July 9th, because it's. Oh, that's this week coming up.
That's next Friday.
Wow.
That's what I understand.
All right. I'm going to put this out on the 12th then.
Yeah, you should put out an email blast.
Yeah. I'm going to put some flyers up around town.
We'll get out late night with paper. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Did you ever flyer back in the day, Wallflowers?
Yeah, we did a couple of pay-to-plays. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, who knew?
Yeah.
And I think we did one Gazzari's, and it was at $500.
Yeah.
We had our 8 friends come. We swallowed like $450. I was like, let's not do that again.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
What about, you got a gig coming up in like Orange County or something, at the beach or something?
I do. You'll have to find out what that date is. I don't know what that date is. There's not a full tour. I can't do a full tour. We were going to do a tour, but it got postponed again, and I can't tell you exactly why. I'm not, just COVID restrictions and whatever. But
wait, were you going to tour with Matchbox 20?
Yeah, that's been postponed.
Oh, okay. But it's going to happen, you think?
Well, if it happens, it's next summer.
Yeah.
It's a long ways away. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, that's their tour. So I just kind of get information. And I wanted to work this summer like everybody else. I felt safe traveling. So, but I do have sporadic shows here and there throughout the summer.
Oh, that's great.
But there's no like bus tour, that kind of thing.
Also, shout out to your sister-in-law. I did the Crohn's benefit for her.
Yeah. You came down.
Yeah, I did it in New York, Bill and I. And then Jesse Malin played, and I sang with them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a virtual one this year. I forget which month. It's been a little while already, but she's still at it, working tirelessly, and that's a lot of work. And yeah, I try to be there every year when I can be. And I think the year you did it with Bill, it was like the one time I couldn't be on that coast, and I swore to her, I said, I promise you I'll get someone to fill in for me that will get some seats filled.
Yeah.
So you helped me get Bill there, which was rad.
Yeah, that was fun. How's your health? You went to the doctor today?
Yeah, I just have some hand issues. It's nothing. Yeah, my health's good.
Yeah. How old are you now? 50?
What do you care? How old are you?
I'm 55.
Just ask yourself how old you are and subtract.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm 55.
But whatever you are, just take off 4.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah, something like early 50s sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, it beats the alternative, right?
Oh, God, dead?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, man.
Although I did say it to somebody recently, they wished me happy birthday last year, and they've said the same thing, like 51. Wow. I said, yeah, well, it beats the alternative, and they wrote back, as far as we know.
As far as we know. That's what everybody's like. Somebody was just telling me, I was talking to them today, and they said, what if you're dead, like people that killed themselves, like I'm out of here, and then they went somewhere else, and it was better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think the idea is hopefully it is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Probably, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to go down that road.
Yeah, I know.
As you once said, I want to live forever. I heard you say that.
I do.
I made a joke about something. You said, oh, fuck that. I want to live forever.
I do.
All right, so I'm going to just leave, I'm going to stay positive with you.
I've never lost the love of life. I do get bummed and depressed and have real big lows. But, like last night I was on stage doing comedy and I was like, God damn, this is insane.
Yeah, you get your groove back. We all will. With this last year, everybody's been put through a lot. And, creative output and creativity is really important to a lot of us, our lifeline, our lifeblood, So
God.
that's been gone for a year. And people ask me, like, did you do a lot of writing during the pandemic? Like, no, I just, I felt incredibly uncreative and unmotivated. Like it was just depressing.
Same here.
And you need to feel positive. I don't write when I'm, from that. My stuff's not really therapeutic in that same way or cathartic. I mean, I'm moved by different things, and I didn't feel creative. So we're all going to get back to that and motivated. And I don't write songs for myself to listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be a part of things. I want to be out there playing, and I want to be in a room with musicians. And I think most things I like to do involve other people. So we can get back to that.
I think I'll drop this on the day the record comes out, just to kind of. I never put out a Friday episode, but maybe
I think you're gonna. Why not?
Yeah.
Come on, new things, Dean. Try new foods. Try new Friday releases.
I did try new food since you and I have been. We've known each other for years, and then it was funny. You said something so funny, like I go, "Yeah, I'm kind of like kind of vegetarianish now, and because there's food out there." And you go, "Yeah, I've been vegan all my life, and I've basically had to eat like dirt for 30 years, just the same salad, and you guys were just eating burgers."
Yeah, no, I guess I call myself a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat seafood.
Fish? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's pretty much like if people want to go to a restaurant. They say, "What do you like?" I say, "It doesn't matter. I'm just going to get the Caesar." Well, I'm not. You guys are going to all get off on that pizza and that steak. I'm just going to be getting the beet salad. So what's the difference? You guys pick.
But now we got like Beyond Burger, and it's so great.
We were touring 20 years ago. It was really rough.
Oh yeah.
At 2 a.m, those truck stops. I mean, you have like, basically you can go to like Jones, the truck stop now.
Yeah.
Or I should say like, vegetarian nice restaurants. But 20 years ago, it was just like hoagies or go back to bed.
Yeah.
Or eat out of a bag. I try to not eat out of bags if I can help it,
Uh-oh. Gertie's getting cookie. Yeah, look at Gertie.
She's redecorating.
Watch this. She does the mummy.
Yeah, redecorating.
What? She'll just, she gets this thing.
She's tired of us. Look at that.
Yeah,
she can't take the podcast anymore.
Yeah, she's like, these two fucking guys.
That's amazing.
I know.
She's making a sleeping bag.
She does it like twice a day. And
That's incredible.
It's full mummy mode.
Do you know what she's doing?
Yeah. You got a dog?
We do. I just got rescues.
Yeah.
No.
This is a rescue.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it was adopted. Look at Gertie.
No, we have shelter dogs.
Yeah.
Which is hit and miss. You never know. And actually, these fireworks right now are driving us all crazy.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody listen out there, when you do your fireworks, and you don't need to, I get it. Your minute you want to celebrate. If you're really doing your fireworks because you love America, if you're one of those people, which is not that many, who actually do it for that reason, just think of all the dogs in the neighborhood that are going missing every time you do that. When you're having fun, cracking a beer, and this is funny, like there's a dog taken off.
Yeah.
Or the neighborhood's medicating their dogs just doped up all night because you got to light off a firecracker. Just think about it. It's nuts.
Yeah. Just go out in the middle of nowhere and do it like Joshua Tree.
Yeah, or just download something that looks like one.
Yeah.
Put something on your TV. You can get a fireplace on your TV now. Do a fireworks show.
Put some headphones on and then hit fireworks sounds. And just blow your own eargerms out.
I mean, do you see dogs in the streets? Dogs jumping in my laps. It's like one firework. That's how they're programmed. Like,
I know.
Just think about it. That's all. That's my public service announcement for analysts today.
Well, hey, man, thanks for coming over.
Always, Dean.
I fucking love you, dude. We've had some of the best times of our lives together. Well, mine. I don't know you, but
some pretty nice ones. Absolutely. I'll be back always. And, I'm glad you're back out there doing clubs. And when you let me know, I'm going to come out
see some comedy. Yeah, man. Oh, and also, you can't wait another 10 years because I'll be dead to do the podcast again. So.
I'll be back sooner.
All right, cool. And then I do comedy on the West Side, so come on over.
Let me know.
Yeah, West Side. All right, check out the record. And I'm telling you, this record is fantastic. Exit Wounds out on July 9th. And it is incredible. So do yourself a favor. And then look up that date when they're playing in LA.
Go to my MySpace.
Yeah, go to my MySpace.
Check out my dates.
Okay, see you guys.